Imagine being an ancient Greek scholar who discovered one of the greatest phenomenons of your time, yet none of your fellow peers or scholars believed in you or your findings. You, along with them, would not know for an entire 18 centuries later that your findings were correct. This is the case for mathematician and astronomist Aristarchus. He was one of the first of his time to step outside the known boundaries of math and science. His name, although not commonly recognized, carries great weight to it because his discoveries from the ancient Greek world are now well-known facts that we stand on today with full confidence. Aristarchus paved the way for all of us today to know the truths that lie beyond this earth and that venture out into the universe. So who exactly was Aristarchus? Well, let's find out. He was born in 310 BCE and lived until 230 BCE. He was a mathematician and an early astrologist, known mostly for his research and work on heliocentric theories. His theories were quite different compared to geocentric theories, which were more widely believed at the time. Little is known about his personal life or upbringing, but it is speculated that he studied under the guidance of some of the best philosophers and scientists of his time, which may have laid the foundation for his theories later on. He was born on Samos Island, which at the time was well known for its naval capabilities, wine production, and their sanctuary dedicated to the Greek goddess of marriage, Hera. According to Greek myth, Hera was also born and married in Samos. The sanctuary itself was one of the first freestanding temples of the ancient Greek world, a true masterpiece of Ionic architecture. During the Bronze Age, Samos played a key role in the Minoan and Mycenaean civilizations, as it was a center for trade along the Aegean Sea. Samos is also the birthplace of Pythagoras, a well-known ancient philosopher who is also rumored to be a part of Aristarchus' family line, but that was never confirmed. Pythagoras was well known for his developments in geometry and of course the development of the Pythagorean theorem. Aristarchus of Samos has been known to be confused with Aristarchus of Samothrace. Although their names and hometowns are similar, Aristarchus of Samothrace was a Greek critic and grammarian who worked at the Library of Alexandria and had an influence on Homeric poetry. Aristarchus' studies and writings have unfortunately vanished throughout the centuries. His name, however, being mentioned by scholars who followed his work and accredited him for being the first to acknowledge a heliocentric model of the universe. Even before his time, scholars like Philolaus were already questioning the geocentric theory and suggesting that there was something else at play in the universe. Philolaus rejected the original models even before Aristarchus and proposed that the Earth and all the other planets revolved around something he called a central fire. His views were of course rejected by scholars, Aristotle being one of the most prominent. So there's no surprise that when Aristarchus began to shape his work similarly, no one believed him. Aristarchus discovered and proposed that not only does the Earth revolve around the Sun, but that the size and distance between planets was much larger than scholars had previously believed them to be. Classic geocentric theory was that the Earth was at the center of the universe and that other planets revolved around it. As you can see in the comparison between the two images here. Aristarchus was the first of his time to really oppose these theories. His discoveries were later acknowledged and confirmed by Greek mathematician Archimedes, Greek biographer Plutarch, Greek philosopher Sextus Empiricus, and Polish astronomer Copernicus. However, it was Copernicus who took the heliocentric model to the next level. His studies and writings about this model originally noted Aristarchus as inspiration for his studies. However, Copernicus later got rid of this section before final publication. Did he want to be the sole face behind the heliocentric theory? Perhaps, but that we may never know. So how did he come to these conclusions about the heliocentric model? Well, he utilized application of logic and geometry to figure out that the sun must be 19 to 20 times larger and further away from the Earth than the moon. Concluding that the sun was larger than the Earth, he proposed that the smaller object would then revolve around the larger, logically making more sense than the other way around. We see this explained in the only surviving piece of work that we have from Aristarchus, his short book titled On the Sizes of and Distances of the Sun and Moon. In his book, he provides evidence and mathematical solutions as to how he reached these conclusions about the sun and the moon and the Earth's involvement in relation to the two. His work is also survived by Copernicus's model, of course, as it is the same model that Aristarchus proposed only 1800 years earlier. History of science is a relay race. Copernicus took over his flag from Aristarchus, from Cicero, from Plutarch, and Galileo took over his flag from Copernicus. So how does his work impact us today? Aristarchus impacted the history of astronomy so much to the point that there is a lunar crater named after him. Given its name by Giovanni Riccoli, this crater is located on the northwest rear side of the moon. The crater is the brightest of the large formations on the surface of the moon and is said to be deeper than the Grand Canyon. Scholars believe that it was created by an asteroid hitting the moon over 450 million years ago. So why does this matter in reference to the big picture? As Christian students, knowing ancient Greek and Rome history applies to us more than we know. Through it, we can learn more about the time leading up to when Jesus came. We can begin to make sense of some of the political, religious, and societal issues that he faced and the historical background of some of the areas he visited. The very places he did his ministry were influenced heavily by trade, culture, and political structures of the Greek and Roman worlds. Learning who Aristarchus was is just one very small piece of a much larger puzzle. His discoveries should leave us impacted and amazed once again by the majesty of God. This universe that he created is vast and wondrous, and Aristarchus was on the verge of just beginning to recognize this. Although most of his physical studies and notes were lost long ago in the crevices of history and are unlikely to be discovered, Aristarchus's name lives on. His work and discoveries in early astrology help us understand the universe just a little more today. He opened the doors of possibility to other philosophers, astronomers, and scholars who studied not only these theories, but others about the Earth. His name will continue to go down in history as the mathematician and astronomist who was perhaps too genius even for his own time. Aristarchus' story teaches us that history evolves from the passing on of generational knowledge and understanding. He also teaches us to have courage and step outside the normal boundaries of learning, and to challenge oneself to grow from learning. If this is the case, then, what will you pass on to the next generation? What will you have the courage to learn about, to speak up about, even when others think you're wrong? Perhaps you'll even share his story and help ensure that his name is never forgotten amongst the greats of his time.